What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, happy to be back, man. We got a good one for you today. You guys ever heard of a band called Faith No More? They did an amazing show on Jay Leno in 1992. Mike Patton has some amazing vocals, dude. At like 27 years old, 25, he did Epic. You should definitely YouTube this, man. This is an amazing performance. It's better than the original, which is hard to do when you are like a heavy metal rock band. But this is from '92, man. I wasn't even into Faith No More back then. I liked their song. I didn't have MTV. I liked Epic, but I did hear Midlife Crisis on the radio. But man, this performance is way better than the radio in their album. And that's hard to do for any song. I don't care who you are, but especially if you're like a heavy metal artist. Sorry. I've been like super addicted to this song for like the last 2 days, and I've been playing it like nonstop. And then they do like the song Easy from Lionel Richie. So, or I don't know if he was with the Commodores at that time, but that sounds like a real like chill song if you ever heard it. Anyway, so let's get into this. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about China's foot race between their AI robots and humans, and who would win. And I found that particularly interesting because we've been talking a lot about AI and how fast it's been progressing and how scary it is. And I think this has a lot to do with some of the technology that different countries have gained from alien ship crashes. There's no doubt that we've used fiber optics, we've used laser technology, we've used, digital technology from aliens. And so we've incorporated that into this. So, I mean, it's a direct correlation. But what I want to talk about is like, if they have a robot that can beat a human in a foot race, okay, well, we're all fucked, right? Because then we can't outrun a robot at that point. And what if they become sentient? So let's look at this. Can they even beat us? Let's take a look. So according to Newsweek, an OpenAI, let me pull this up. Sorry, let's pull this one. So China is hosting the world's first foot race between humans and humanoid robots. The South China Morning Post reports that the Beijing Economic Technological Development Area, or what they call E-Town, interestingly enough, is one of the cities we used to call one of the suburbs in Chicago, E-Town, is hosting a 12,000 human and humanoid robot race from more than 20 different companies. That's interesting. In a half marathon race in April. So it hasn't been run yet because this article is just from today. So this is going to be interesting. We don't know yet. But I'm sure they've done testing, obviously. So let's see if they have any information from the testing. So the race will be roughly 13 miles. The robotic competitors both cannot have wheels, so they have to have 2 feet. They must stand at least 1.5 to 6 feet tall, to 6.5 actually feet tall. Competing robots must have humanoid appearance and mechanical structure capable of bipedal walking and running movements. So, though this seems like the world's first race between bipedal humans and robots, it won't be actually the first time that a humanoid robot's taken part in at least a Chinese athletic competition. So, last fall, there was a bipedal robot called Tiangong, and it translates to a heavenly place is what that word means. And they had this thing run a half marathon. Though it ran about 100 meters and it wasn't particularly fast, the robot got a medal because it crossed the finish line. So it was a participation trophy, which is fine. Because this is the beginning of robots, right? It's the beginning of Terminator. So, so just a few weeks after the Tiangong surprise marathon debut, they had a robot run as well. So a robot, I'm sorry, a dog robot. It's not a robot. It's a robo dog that competed in a full marathon, 26.2 mile race. They called this robo dog Raibo 2, Raibo 2, and it competed in a full marathon a few weeks later in South Korea. Though the adorable quadruped, they call it, was significantly faster than Tiangong, it took nearly 4 hours and 20 minutes to run the 26.2 mile race. Well, I can tell you right now, that's probably a hell of a lot faster than I can run it, because my big old butt would not be able to run 26.2 miles. I can tell you that right now. My legs would break off. I got to drink some milk to try to race that. They said it's nearly double the time of a human winner. So that's good. But the human winner is what, the fastest one? So, I mean, what about the the worst human? What did they rate, right? I want to find that out. So this thing might still run faster than humans, out of shape humans, right? So, because neither the Chinese nor Bipedal or Raybo 2 will be involved in the E-Town Marathon, it won't that those two robots won't matter because they're too slow, right? So what they're focusing on is getting these faster robots as part of the race. So I want to pull up another article from the Independent on Yahoo, and they're talking about this first foot race, quote unquote, that's going to help Beijing's artificial AI goals. So I think this is going to be published, or publicized on TV and everything. I mean, well, or at least on YouTube. People even watch TV anymore. But they now this article says E-Town has over 100 companies making robotic core components, complete machines, and relevant applications. So there's even more companies that are actually involved in the entire operation of the robot. And it is responsible for 50% of the city's production output of nearly 10 billion won, which is about 1.1 billion pounds, according to the local authorities. The event could see nearly 12,000 humans and humanoid robots participate for prizes offered to the top three runners. Well, wouldn't it be funny if all top three runners were robots and they all won the prizes for their companies? But it is a motivator for humans to win, right? It's not just a motivator for them to win for like ego's sake. It's a motivator for them to win money or a prize or whatever they're going to offer. So, this article talks about the fact that they can be both remote controlled and fully autonomous. So they could actually have a remote control or be fully autonomous humanoids that are qualified to compete in the event. It's funny. I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, well, what if one of these robots just wants to like go off the deep end and AI just, kind of becomes self-sentient. This thing just starts like elbowing people as it's running next to him, tripping people as it's running next to him. It just starts like totally just doing its own thing, and it goes off the rails. I mean, just to win, right? Because if it's told that if it wins, it wins money, but it doesn't have like safeguards in place, these things could like just totally start punching humans and knocking them out just to win, right? Because that's its goal. It only has one goal, to win. So moving forward, they say in this article, moving forward, Beijing's E-Town will focus on advanced, cutting-edge, embodied artificial technologies, industrializing high-end humanoid products, and fostering a top-tier innovation ecosystem. China is eyeing to develop a complete robotic system with the industry expected to grow 54 billion won, which is 43.4 billion pounds by the end of the decade. So this is fascinating to me because there's clearly an issue where there could be a misuse of AI. Even in this article, I'm not even making stuff up. In this article, they said last year, U.S. envoys raised concerns over the misuse of AI by China in closed door talks, and Washington imposed measures to cut investments in China for the technology. See, America's always worried about something being used against them. Let's pull up that article. I'm just curious as to what they're worried about with that. So this is another independent article. It says U.S. proposes rules to stop Americans from investing in Chinese technology with military uses. So basically, they were blocking Americans from being able to invest in Chinese companies that could potentially be used in a military application. So this is weird because it's the Treasury Department. The Treasury Department fleshed out a rule that would restrict and monitor U.S. investments in China for artificial intelligence. It came from Joe Biden's August 2023 executive order regarding the access that countries of concern have to American dollars that would fund and advance technologies, and the U.S. government would enhance military intelligence and surveillance cyber capabilities. That's why now they're so focused on the $500 billion in AI infrastructure here, and they're going to want to get. I mean, they do have American companies invested in that, but they're going to want more companies investing in American AI. But as we know from Capitalism 101, wherever you can get the cheapest labor and the cheapest bang for your buck, that's where your dollar's going to go, isn't it? Well, they just came out with that DeepSeek AI, and it's for pennies on the dollar. And they have a bunch of like cheaper products over there, and not even nearly as high quality as ours over here. And what are they doing? They demolished the Chat GPT that's America based. They demolished Meta's Llama 2.0 AI that was created that cost millions, billions of dollars with just a fraction of the cost. I think it only cost them $6 million to make this AI, and so and it can compete. It can compete with ours. So how in God's green earth are is America going to win the AI war when China can do it for pennies on the dollar? They didn't want Americans to be able to invest in it. Why? Because they knew that they could already beat us. They knew ahead of time. They knew a couple of years ago. That's why they created this executive order. So you see, it all comes into play. And if China creates some robots that can outrun us, what can they do? They can send those robots over here, and those robots can outrun us, outgun us, and take us over for China. And then China, we become the United States of China at that point, or the American Republic of China instead of the PRC, the ARC. And I don't think our AKs will be able to defeat the T-800 or the T-1000 that they start sending over here. And it's just fascinating as being somebody, a kid that grew up with Terminator, the Terminator movies, to seeing it actually becoming real now. I mean, I'm not saying they're blowing people away, but I'm saying that these robots will be capable of taking over responsibilities that humans would not want, doing dishes, mowing the lawn, taking the kids to school even, I mean, just stuff that you don't want to do. Go wash your car, fixing sinks, this stuff. It's going to make us like uber lazy. But it also has serious repercussions, like that movie I, Robot, where if everybody's got a robot in their house and then the system becomes sentient, now you have a bunch of enemy combatants in everybody's home that can take over. Yikes. So I wanted to share that with you today. I think this foot race is going to be interesting. Unfortunately, it won't be until April, but it will be publicized, and we'll be able to watch it. And I'm curious to see who wins, because if I see the robot winning, and I mean, this is a long distance, right? 26.2 miles. Humans can do that. We have some flexibility. The robots are going to have enough flexibility in their systems that we would have with our tendons and our muscles that are flexible. The robots are made out of hard parts, so they're going to have soft enough parts that can outlast 26.2 miles, and to not go off the rails and just start knocking humans over just to get to the finish line. All right, guys, what do you think? And keep in mind, these are, made with alien technology as well. Like, crash ships led to the invention of laser discs, DVDs, fiber optics, you name it, all kinds of technologies. So even the computer chip, which is what they're using for the AI robots, for the robots themselves, even if they're not AI. So there you go. All right, what do you think? Curious to hear your comments in the comments section. I'm sure you guys will have a lot to say. Hopefully, you did listen in, and I appreciate you guys for listening in. Go ahead and leave your comments in the comment section. Please like, follow, share, subscribe. It's the only way we can grow. And I love you guys. Take care of yourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. Until next time, take care. Locked on Universe out. Peace.